and seasonal patterns. The 4-year cycle and the seasonal have been firing on all pistons since 21. The charts I show, others do too. I mean, it's just really tracking closely. It's enabled us to make some good timing calls. I think you've been tracking it. Do you have an almanac, man?
No, I don't.
You know, I ran to the office over the river, and I had to grab the checkbook to do some stuff, but I forgot to grab you one. I got one at my house in Nyack. I'll bring one down to you at some point.
Thanks. You know what I use? And I promote you every day. We go over the whole site, and I always promote you, and I put you in my video every night I do it. We talk about what the almanac says. I love your Tumblr site.
Oh, you do?
I love your Tumblr site.
Well, you know, I'm not sure it's because it's Tumblr. It's because it's our blog posts that are really helpful. We're going to be converting that into putting it on our own URL, but it'll be the same format.
Yeah.
And we're working on adding some of the more daily stuff that you love in the almanac.
Because you know, all of a sudden now you're talking. You know, you hit each week. You're like, all right, what's coming up next? You know, you kind of just do things like that.
I forget exactly when it became apparent, but we started putting, and it was we call them the blurbs. You know, those little notes on the page, like, you know, late October, great time to buy stocks, especially Texas small caps, that kind of stuff. You know, those reminders, and then there's the probability numbers that I'm sure you look at for, you know, the history of Dow, S&P, and Nasdaq being up or down on that day.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's there for people like yourselves, you know, day traders to use.
You know, and I'm so proud to say that you're a friend of mine, because it's like, you know, in Yale, I met him a couple times back in the day, and I remember you probably he was at one of the shows back maybe in the late 90s. I met him. When you remember back in the day when we did the shows, you were doing the books you were with the books.
We used to bring him around.
Yeah.
I think the first money show I went to, or Traders Expo, it was 1992 with him.
Yes. I think I was probably at that.
I was out in Vegas or something.
Yeah.
I was just after I started, but you know, he didn't live too far from here at one point.
Claremont.
Yeah, you know, and not the West Shore Towers.
Oh, West Shore.
Yeah.
And Gedney Street.
Yeah. So you used to see him in town.
A lot of people, we talk about he came up with if Santa calls, the bears come to Broad and Wall.
If Santa Claus fails to call, bears may come to Broad and Wall. You know, he was a songwriter, man.
So is that a song?
No, it's just the line. I mean, that's how he wrote all those great headlines.
This is great, because now I get the inside scoop on this. Like, were you alive when he did that? When he came up with that?
I was 6 years old when he invented the Santa Claus Rally and the January Barometer in 1972. When it was published in the 73 Almanac.
So we're very close in age.
It shows.
Yeah.
You've got more hair than me. Is your beard as white as mine when it comes in?
I hate it. I have people tell me I look 20 years older.
My son was like, you never got a beard. I was like, well, because mom says it makes you look old and white. I'm not going to make mom think I look old.
And your son is playing music now, right?
Oh, my God.
I saw him up in the mall.
Would you see the video on Facebook? Yeah. Oh my God, he played Purple Haze, a lead guitar.
That was good.
He was smoking.
Yeah,
he rocks, man.
And he's still doing the wrestling.
Yeah, he's wrestling. He's capping a wrestling team this year, but his sport he loves most is the rugby.
Rugby.
Yeah, I played.
Oh my God! Wow.
Yeah,
that's really cool.
My shoulders crunches because of those rugby days. I gotta keep rehabbing it every day. But yeah, he jams. His older brother wrestled and played lacrosse. He graduated. He's doing well.
Oh, good. So they graduated Nyack, right?
Yeah. Well, he was through the P-Tech program, so he's almost got his associates. He'll have his associates with 1 year of college.
So getting back.
Anyway, enough about my family.
I know. Getting back to the.
Even though the whole Santa Claus Rally was started in the family.
Yeah, I was curious. Did your dad come home and say, oh, "I got something"? What do you think of this?
Well, being 6 years old at the time, I mean, it was right around when my first real, memories of the world happened. I remember Watergate. That was like the first thing that I remember in current events. But, part of the thing with this, I did a little interview they did a piece on him in IBD, and the thing that came apparent to me was he had a degree in music from Brooklyn College on the GI Bill, after World War II. But he had this uncanny knack to recognize, patterns that didn't necessarily have always a regular, time period to it. and he picked up on things that other people didn't. That's why the Almanac has been around for 57 years, and it still drives, a lot of your trading, a lot of other, I mean, on his, what would have been his 100th birthday, last October 20, he passed away 2 years ago at the ripe old age of 98. I did a little post, honoring the legacy of a big guy. I put an old picture of him up here, when he had young.
I remember that.
And it was Monday, October 23rd. Remember the Don't Sell Stocks on Monday book?
Yeah.
Well, I bought stocks on the 23rd because the market was down. It's October, Dad's birthday. I'm like, all right, the market's selling into the close. I'm going to pick up some more, Qs and IWMs and diamonds and spiders and stuff. So I did.
The question I had, and I told people to send in questions. So.
I was told there'd be questions about Santa Claus.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Santa Claus. So if your kids are listening, get them away from the thing. But anyway. The Santa Claus Rally, everyone was talking about it in August and going up in October and November, and now it's all here, and now it's failed.
It's not the Q4 rally.
Yeah.
It's just the last 5 trading days of the year and the first 2 of the new year, and it's an indicator.
Yeah.
That's why if Santa Claus were failed to call, bears may come to broaden. Well, it's May. It's a warning sign. It's not red light, green light. It's do your homework. Look at the rest of your indicators. You guys got screens of lines and charts and gaps and all that stuff. Use the things that work for you. Hopefully not too many.
Yeah.
I find a few at most, indicators are more helpful than 10 or 20. I've been guilty of putting too much on a chart myself.
Yeah.
But it's the beginning of it's the beginning of our January indicator trifecta, which we stood on Yale's shoulders and created with his. He also invented the January barometer, same year in '72.
Now the January barometer is the first 5 days?
No, that's the full month barometer.
All right, that's the full
First 5 days is an old indicator that we've had in the Almanac for years that just was around from the 40s. It's just one of those things, the first week of the year, the first 5 days. But everyone gets all excited about the Santa Claus Rally. Okay, let's get excited about the Q4 rally, especially in pre-election years. I don't know if you remember, I've talked about the pre-election year pattern where most of the year's highs, or not most, but a good chunk cluster of them are made in December and at year end. We had the annual highs on the third or second to last trading day of the month. So that's the big trading rally. But the Santa Claus Rally is an indicator. And you have tax law selling in December. It tends to knock stocks down. You see the first half of December is kind of weak. Yeah. And then you also get the small cap effect, which we can confuse people with, but it used to be called the January effect. Not to be confused with the January barometer. January effect is small caps outperforming large caps. January barometer is as January goes, so goes the year. It's all in the Almanac. You guys should know how to find me on the internet.
Yeah.
But the Santa Claus Rally is just about a 1.3% gain in the S&P over this 7 trading day period, last 5 days of the year, first of the year. And when it doesn't show up, it shows you that the pros who are in there buying up bargain stocks aren't doing it because they're concerned about the market.
Yeah.
A lot of us take some time off during that week. I was, away a little bit, et cetera. And it's just a warning. So what we did was, now January used to be a bit stronger.
Yeah.
It's still one of the best months of the year, and it's part of the best 3 consecutive months, November, December, January. But it's been weaker in the last, 25 years or so, a couple of decades. And we've seen the January barometer, register the bigger chunk of its errors where it was wrong.
Yeah.
And so we're looking at this about 10 years ago or so. My partner, Christopher Mistel, and I, my director of research, and my, partner in crime or in seasonality. And we decided to stand on Yale's shoulders, the old Isaac Newton quote, if I've seen furthers by standing on the shoulders of giants.
Yeah.
He was a giant. He was about you 6'2" or something?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was about your height.
He was tall.
And we combined the Santa Claus Rally with his January barometer and the first 5 days so that any sort of, event, whether it's a surprise Fed rate cut like we had in 01 or some other event with COVID, in 2020 and with whatever else was going on in the world, and we've seen that when all 3 are up, the trifecta, you get the market up 90, almost 91% of the time. 29 of 32 years, up 17.7% on average. That's including last year's numbers, which we did hit the trifecta.
Yeah.
For what it's worth, we did not get the trifecta in 2022, which was a midterm year. We were cautiously ready for the midterm year, so that helped us stay out of the way of the bear. in 22. Years when you don't get all three, it's a concern. It doesn't mean that we're going to have that 30% bear market. It just means it's time to take a little.
We've been in the business a long time. Yep. One of the stories I remember of you is me and my friend Dak when we saw you on the corner there, and I was like, "What is Stock Trader?" I saw the window up.
Yeah.
Stock Trader Almanac. So we went up there. We just went up there, and you were at the corner office. It was so great, and you had it was old school. It was like from the 1950s.
It's a great old building.
It was a great old building, and you had all your research and stuff. I guess everything was there, your books and stuff. And then we were talking to you the first time, and it was good. You were nice and stuff, and we just kind of touched base. And it was so
shucks.
fun. But that was.
It was a good idea to put that sign on the window.
Yeah,
it looked cool.
Yeah, it did. It did.
You could see it from ODs.
Yeah. This year, the almanac seems to have been hitting it right early in the January effect the barometer. The barometer. Yep. The small caps just took off.
Perfect. Yeah. Well, the January effect really takes place the last half of December, and it really starts to kick in late October, November.
You had that one chart you said right in mid-December it started going up, and it almost was to the day. It was perfect. Everything was working pretty good.
Everything's been working really well seasonally and 4-year cycle-wise for the past 3 years.
All right. So my question is, presidential election, and this is a big election, no matter what we think, right?
It is, but the market is a little more ecumenical about ideology and politics itself. It's more concerned with continuity, and certainty versus uncertainty. So, sitting president running for re-election, election years are stronger.
Yeah.
The average election year is about 7 to 8%. One of the better years of the 4-year cycle. Excuse me, but when you have a sitting president running, it's 12.8%. On average for the S&P, and when it's an open field, when there's nobody running, it's minus 1.5%.
Oh, that's a big. Yeah.
So whether you're Republican, Democrat, for the incumbent or somebody else, if you're a market investor, a market trader, you want to be watching if things are going to stay the same or if they're going to change.
Yeah.
And also, you can use some of the market behavior to, reverse handicap the election. So if the market does poorly in the beginning of the year, it means that the existing president incumbent is probably, in a little bit of trouble and it could be ousted, which means that the market will be a bit weaker this year. But then you have something I call the ding dong, which is that effect for fun, which is when unpopular presidents are ousted, market tends to rally after the election in November and December. So
you have to consider that Biden's unpopular, or at least his approval ratings.
I think all of Washington, D.C. is unpopular.
Yeah.
Whatever side of the aisle or ideology you sit, the other side. I mean, there's dysfunction throughout. I mean, it's a split Congress. The polls are showing unpopularity, but the challenger is about the same level of popularity. I mean, there's a divided, thought process, which can create some. There's also a potential of a third party candidate having some legs or getting some votes, whether it's RFK Jr. or the no labels people.
Yeah.
In my personal heart of hearts, it would be great if it wasn't just a 2-party system. I think it would be a little bit more conducive to getting some compromise and things done. But we've also seen these parliamentary governments struggle, and the system is what it is. We seem to be doing okay as a country. Yes, there's problems. People are upset about things, but compared to the rest of the world, I think we're holding up all right.
You had you put out your boom cycle.
The super boom.
The super boom. What's the update on that?
Crushed it.
So is that finished now?
No, it's not finished. It's not finished. But back in 2010, this is another cycle Yale came up with, and it's not a regular time period cycle where you have the 18-year bull. It's based upon war and inflation. And I added when we were tracking this in the early aughts, 02 through 09. There's this other factor besides war and inflation. It's something I call a culturally enabling paradigm shifting technology. Yes, I love it. You can hyphenate that.
Yeah.
Culturally enabling paradigm shifting technology.
That's great.
Like, indoor plumbing, air travel, the automobile, refrigeration, the interstate highway system, whatever, microprocessor, internet, AI, anything like that you want to, that you realize changes everybody individually, it impacts your individual life plus everybody's life collectively on the planet, where it just changes the world. A lot of times it's a combination, a cocktail of a bunch of them. So that forecast, which we started to home in on in 2002, and came out with our forecast in May of 2010 in the newsletter, Almanac Investor. StockTradersAlmanac.com.
Yeah, got it out there.
You know it's out there. With the Dow around 10,000, we forecasted 38,820.
Wow.
By 2025,
wow.
Which is that 500% move from the intraday low of the Dow on March 6, 2009, which was, I'm trying to remember, I think it was 3470, or 34, whatever that intraday low on the Dow was. And it rhymed perfectly with Yale's forecast, which was in 1976 for Dow 3420 from the intraday low of the Dow in 1974. Anyway, there's a whole book out on it, Super Boom.
Yes.
It was a shout out to Yale's original work, which was an invitation to a Super Boom, which was a special report he put out in January of 77. So fast forward, here we are at we hit 37. We were within striking distance of 38,000.
Yeah.
Didn't get to the 38,820. That's okay.
Yeah.
I think after we get some, weakness here in January, maybe a little Q1 weakness, which is not, if you look at the election year chart, it's not, it's there. The first quarter weakness as the campaigning and the caucuses and stuff start to pick up. We could hit that number by the end of the best 6 months in April, or even towards the end of the year. And
what would be your what's your outlook, you think, now
for this year?
Yeah.
Oh, it's out there. It's public. It's we're looking for some chop in the middle of the year, but 8 to 15% gains on the major indices, and very typical sitting president election year pattern. Of course, we're going to make some adjustments if we see some changes, whether it be the January trifecta or other things that happen, and whether it's seasonal indicators. I'm not just seasonal. We look at fundamentals, technicals, monetary policy, and sentiment. Yeah. A big fan of Investors Intelligence as a sentiment indicator reading, because it's measuring and it's a poll of people who actually get paid for their analysis and information. A lot of newsletter writers and analysts who put out paid for publications that have been around for a long time, present company included. So we call it the 5 disciplines. Seasonal, of course, where we live and breathe, our foundation. Fundamental, technical, monetary, sentiment.
You guys in the room or anything out there, I checked the emails and stuff. I got a couple emails.
Sorry,
here.
I can ramble.
No, I know, but it's great that you're still passionate about it. You have to deal with it every day.
It's weird.
Right?
I mean, it's good weird. Like, I have this picture of Pop from Wall Street Week over my shoulder in my office in White Plains. And when I broadcast from there, whatever, he's always kind of looking over me. Sometimes and it's right on the whole history of all the almanacs.
Yeah.
Except for the 68 and 69 are a little bit fragile, so I have them in plastic.
Oh, good. So you have them all the covers?
Yeah, except for the first 2, which have, a little bit weathered. So I keep those in a little, plastic.
All right, we got a question coming in here from Bay Street. Want to know what his thoughts on Powell's rate cuts will have an effect on the market this year, and what happens if we don't see rate cuts in the first quarter? Will we see a stock market correction?
I don't think it has to be the first quarter. I'm expecting them to stick to their word as they have recently and be prudent and patient. Some of this correction selling here, you can see it, correlate to the uptick in the 10-year.
Yeah.
And some of the dollar strength, which is sort of the market saying, wait, maybe we're not going to get all the cuts we're hoping for.
Yeah.
The market can bounce around with his comments, as we've seen.
Yeah.
Likely get cuts at some point later in the year. I'm not sure it has to be first quarter, and that may be giving us a little bit of profit taking and selling, but I think that answers that.
Yeah. Of course, we already went over the lackluster Santa Claus Rally. What you also cover you really do cover a lot of stuff on oil, gold, commodities. Any big trades you see? What's a good trade right
we
now?
have a energy trade, XLE type of oil stocks, and copper as well. The actual copper commodity ETF didn't trade below our buy limit. That's a December. Both of those are December, seasonal buy periods. But the natural gas trade, which usually tends to bottom around February, I know that's up a bit. So we're sort of waiting to see if any of this softness in the market gives us an opportunity to get in. We're not honoring the semiconductor or
that's a tough trade. Yeah,
there's a short and a sell for semis and tech. We're just passing on that. We don't like the way that's set up, but we're just holding on to those trades. I mean, the thing with our trades, it's seasonal, and the biggest basket of seasonal bullish trades starts in October, so we're in.
So let me touch base on that, because you have when you say your trades, when you go to the StockTraderAlmanac.com, there's a section where you have a portfolio, or do you have a fund?
No, it's not a fund. It's a portfolio. It's our newsletter portfolio.
So
you got to subscribe to get the stocks, the picks, and unlike a lot of places, we give you buy limits, stop losses, what to buy, when to buy, and explanations as to why. It's not a stock of the month club. You're not getting a new stock every month. We put out a basket of stocks in November after earnings season and our MACD buy signal for the best 6 months.
Yeah.
One of the things that's not on that website that I put out publicly, I don't know, did you see my seasonality of Bitcoin study? I don't know if you guys.
I knew you put it out, but I didn't look at it.
I did it with a CMT guy, Adrian Zdunchik. He's the crypto burb. He's great. Just a doll, smart guy. He's from Poland. He and I are working on some other things together. But the crux, I have a nice chart. You can pick it up on the feed out there, where it showed Bitcoin having a annual seasonal low around late September, September 26th to be exact. So that's when we released that paper for fun, but just because it lined up. And me being, an ETF guy, stock guy, I'm not going to open up some coin trading account. It's just not my bag, baby. So, consulting with my colleague on that, Adrian, I went into GBTC. And I took a small position in my trading account early October. I forget the exact date. But that is one of my best trades. I mean, there was another one I'll tell you about with the free lunch stocks, but that's up. I bought it like 2039. It's up like 80% today, even with some of the selling. So, in keeping with our small cap or ground floor stock trading strategy, I will sell half on a double on that.
All right.
I might sell it other than a double if it starts to back off, but we'll track that. So that's one of the other seasonal trades.
How do you like Bitcoin in general? Do you see that going? So many people saying 100,000 on that, 100,000. We have a lot of people.
I've been a skeptic for a long time.
It's hard to be on that. Not be a skeptic.
I'm not hook, line, and sinker. When it came around, there was enough data so that I could study it put it through the almanacs paces with the seasonals. I got a little more confident. But my father always said, like, the trade that you're most nervous about often ends up to be the biggest winner.
Wow.
And it did.
Wow, that's interesting. Yeah.
So I'm not super, got this whole halving thing. Everyone's talking about it now. It's, to me, it's sort of a proving period for Bitcoin.
Yeah. We
had the Q4 seasonal rally that we publicized, so that was confirming. Then there's this halving cycle that Adrian did a great chart on that's in there, where it tends to sort of maybe sell into the halving a little bit, but the three previous ones has never returned to the pre-halving or halving level. So it's going to have to show that it's going to do that again, or else maybe there's something up. I mean, it's hard to fathom that Bitcoin's going to go away.
Yeah.
It seems to be really good for the black market and unsavory people to move money around. I'm not an anonymous guy, so it doesn't do much for me. I'll Venmo you, for dinner or whatever. I don't care.
Yeah.
But and there's still there's something there with the blockchain that's going to be around.
There's something going on.
I mean,
guys, if you have any questions in the room, put them in there.
Oh yeah, please.
He's here.
Bitcoin top. I mean, the market never tops. Look at the long-term charts. Everything is 45-degree angle up. It's about trading the moves in between and the cycles.
I was thinking yesterday. I said, well, out of all your little coinage, the terms, the season up, everything that the almanac gives you, what is the thing that you look at the most secure, like
best 6 months?
The best 6 months. Wow. Yeah.
So everyone knows sell in May and go away, which is not my line. It's an old British saw. Sell in May and go away, coming back on St. Leger's Day, which is the day of the St. Leger's Stakes horse race. The final leg of the British Triple Crown happens in mid-September, the beginning of the London season, et cetera, so forth. We don't have to get into all that. I can tell that story. But my, retort to that is, you may want to sell in May and go away, but you got to buy in October to get your portfolio sober. So
that's good.
That's my line, and it works, and it has worked. I mean,
Yeah. And what about the 10 best days of the month, the trade? Is there there's a lot of going on, like there's certain ones.
That's for brokerage firms to keep you invested, because they say if you try to time the market and you miss those 10 best days, you do crappy like this. Okay, well, we tend to try to avoid the worst days as well by being out of the market during the seasonal week periods. Yeah. So we track the best trading days of the the year. There's tables in the back of the almanac that give you the stats on that. There's some great days of the month, the great days of the year that you want to be in. They're all highlighted, in the Stock Traders Almanac. You might have to dig for it a little bit, but I'm not a huge proponent of, the 10 best trading days of the year. You don't want to miss those. Yeah.
We were going over some videos yesterday. We were all together. Last time we were all together was down at a trade show down in Brooklyn, right before COVID.
Right before COVID.
And we started COVID right there. That was crazy.
Yeah, I had my older son with me. He was working the booth with me that day.
Yes, and we just got a comment about your son. He goes, J-Dub said, I met Jeff's sons in Brooklyn, or son in Brooklyn, money show. They were manning the booth for Dad when he went to lunch for an hour or two. Fine boys.
They are.
Fine boys.
Their hair's gotten even better now.
Yeah, they have some great hair.
Oh my God. Sammy just came back from Florida. He's even longer. He was down there for 10 days. But
it's funny how when we go to a trade show, we're always next to each other. Like our booths are always like, do they do this because we're in the same town?
Maybe. I don't know. Maybe it's just because we're both cool.
Yeah, they put the cool people.
The cool guys together.
It's so random.
I think we were hanging out at some Mexican restaurant that night too in Brooklyn. I remember.
Oh, we had a good time.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Then we ended up singing. I got some singing. You guys want to see this?
I don't think I was there, was I?
Oh God, yeah.
Oh no, I don't want to see that.
All right.
Should have erased that one.
Yeah, no, everything is erased. I had to dig it out yesterday. I said, I have, because
I was singing, huh? I can't even sing.
No, you weren't singing. It was Switcher was singing, but it was embarrassing for all of us.
Oh, good. I think it's better to talk about that memory.
Yeah. The world was dying at that point. I mean, can you believe that was the beginning of it?
Yeah, it was March 13th.
Yeah. Oh, you remember it right to the day. Did you ever get?
I do a calendar for a living.
Did you get the COVID?
I got it in 21 after the third shot, the booster.
Yeah. Oh.
Because I had plans to bring my family to Money Show in Vegas. I had like a cabana booked at the Mandalay Bay. Vegas. We were going to make a little vacation out of it. It was sunny. Yeah. Because I have a friend who's a host out there, Tom Cassell at New York. If anyone wants to go to Vegas, you go see Tommy. But so we canceled. We all kind of got it. It wasn't so bad, but it was like, I don't know.
I got it in the beginning too, but it was right after I got the vaccine. But my son got it and I got it. My daughter never got it though.
I think the key, one of the things that happened with me personally with COVID is I realized. I mean, I don't know. I've lost a bunch of weight.
Yeah, you look good.
I'm down a lot, and I've been staying in better shape. And I think just being healthy, it was kind of a reminder for me, a wake up call. Like, come on, I'm not getting any younger. I want to be around. I want to have fun. I want to. When I'm 80, I want to walk 18 holes and shoot my age. In order to do that, I know you work out and you stay. You take care of yourself, but I think that's important. because there's some stuff going around now, and I fought it off. And
there is some stuff going out.
A couple extra vitamins here and there, and get some rest. But I'm over COVID. I'm done with it.
That was some good times though. I enjoyed that. You just came back from Vegas, or are you going to Vegas in February?
I'll be there in February.
February. So anybody's going to Vegas, Jeff will be there.
It's President's Week, 20th to the 24th. I'll be there.
That's at the old. Where is that?
It's at Paris this year.
It's Paris. All right. Yeah.
Yeah. Come by. We'll chat markets.
Yeah. Jeff is really easy to get along.
We'll have a coffee.
Have coffee. Yeah.
And we'll talk.
Do you Let's see here. We went over a lot here, Jeff. I know.
Anything else people want to know about?
Yeah, Jeff is here. If you guys want a question here, what sectors perform best during presidential election years?
Say again?
What sectors perform best?
I don't see a pattern for sectors performing best during president. I think that's more business cycle and what's going on in the market. I don't have a particular sector that, is or any sort of sector 4-year cycle pattern. It's more seasonal for us.
What happens if
Good question, though.
Yeah, that is a good question. What happens if we do have a down the first month, January is down?
If we get I'll probably tap back my outlook a little bit, but it doesn't mean it's a bear market. It means like the whole Santa Claus Rally. When this stuff fails, it means that we'll probably get a better buying opportunity later in the year. There's a page in the Almanac, down Januaries, and every single down January has been followed by a 10% correction, a flat year, or a bear market. So there's something there. And it's not binary. It's not red light, green light. It's yellow light. It's go to your other research, look at your charts. Wouldn't hurt you to lighten up on some things, stick with the same, basic strategy of sell your losers fast and short, let your winners ride, maybe tighten up some stops. So it'll definitely adjust my outlook a little bit, tamp it down a little bit.
Getting back to some of those famous quotes and sayings, is there any sayings that never made it? I mean, that your dad has that you can share with us?
Not necessarily sayings, but there's something we call the indicator graveyard.
That's interesting.
Yeah, there used to be something called the September reverse barometer,
all right,
which doesn't work.
Yeah.
And there's other things, where we've seen, I don't know if there's any sayings that have been debunked or no
not even debunked, but something like you haven't brought out yet.
Brought out yet. Oh, I just gave you a buy in October and get yourself sober. That's been out.
Yeah.
It's nothing super new right now. I mean, the crypto one was remember to buy in September for Bitcoin. That was something we put out there.
I guess what I was thinking was another thing. Your dad, did he mingle with like George Lane? I wouldn't make George Lane stochastic guy.
No, but my buddy Johnny Persons did.
All right.
John Person from National Futures. He's Person's Planet now. He and I did the Commodity Almanac together for a great while. John, I stayed at his place in Florida. We worked on, another great guy. We just played golf last year at Shadow Creek in Vegas when we were both out for the Traders Expo last year. So, I look at the stochastic. That's one of the ones we keep on all of our charts. Yeah. RSI, stochastics, MACD. I don't remember Pop having any involvement with George Lane, but like Granville and Larry Williams, who's like, good friend. I remember staying with him out in Montana back when I was like 12, catching rainbow trout off his boat. So he taught me how to fish. And also, he's a great trader. I put some quotes of Larry's in, the Almanac. We were talking about COVID. One of the great quotes from Larry Williams recently was like, when people buy toilet paper, I buy stocks.
Oh.
So that was one I thought was fun for Larry. He's great. So those guys, sort of Yale Circle. Victor Niederhofer, who's no spring chicken anymore either. You know Victor?
No, I don't think
he was the old Education of a Speculator.
I don't know him.
Yeah. This is, 60s, 70s, 1960s, 1970s types of guys. Victor's been around for a long time too, but
yeah, they were a different breed back then.
Yeah,
people from the 70s and 80s.
Justin Mamis.
I don't know that name either.
Well, Helene Meisler, the chartist Helene, she's a student of his and carries that. She draws her charts by hand still, which is amazing. Wow. She came down to the CMT 2 years ago and handed out number 2 pencils and graph paper. Everybody showed them how to draw a chart.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Because I did this stuff by hand in the beginning with Pop. I used to run the numbers out of the Barron's Land pages, underline up half-hour ticks and up days with a red pen, and then add them up on an adding machine and graph paper before Excel.
Yes, yeah.
That was educational.
That was another question I had for you. Let me dig it out of my mind here again. Oh man, it was a good one. It'll come back to me. The 1934, 74, 94, the only years that end in 4 that were red years over the past 9 decades. 34 and 94 were doji. 74 was around a 40% drop.
74 was the midterm election year.
All right.
So it was 94. Correlate that with election years that ended in 4, which is what we do in our Stock Traders Almanac aggregate cycle. It's all years, the year of the 4-year cycle, and the year of the decennial cycle. It's actually in the book and up on the outer web in different places.
This is more of a political question, but do you think the market would outperform under Trump or Biden? Be better.
I don't have a particular opinion on which one. I think the market will outperform if the sitting president stays in there and looks strong.
Yeah.
If it looks like there's going to be a change in government, the market will probably underperform, but then outperform at the end of the year.
Yeah.
I think the market's done well under both Republican and Democratic presidents. The market did well under Biden. The market did well under Trump for a period. It did well under Biden for a period. The political impact on the market really comes from Congress, which we all know controls the purse strings. So there's a chart, it's not in this year's almanac, of the political alignment pattern. The best combination for the stock market is a Democratic president and a Republican Congress.
Yeah.
Because you've got, a somewhat more progressive thinking, liberal minded executive and a more conservative with the purse strings congressional body that can come together as a House and a Senate with a concise agenda and policies and laws and compromise with the president, as opposed to this infighting within the House and within Congress that we have right now.
The question I was going to ask you before: did you hang with Mark Haynes before he passed away?
I don't know about hang, but I had the privilege of being on with him.
Yeah, you were on with Haynes, right? I remember that. And then who other people were you on? I mean, you've been being a guest on CNBC.
I've been down. I was recently on with Charles Payne over at Fox.
Okay.
I've done stuff on Fast Money. I've been on Squawk Box.
Yeah.
I've hung with Joe Kern a little bit. Brian Sullivan. I see those guys. I actually, funny, Frank Holland, who's a new guy at CNBC. He's great. He and I were on a plane on February 24th going out to the Money Show 2022. It was like a light flight. We were chatting, and you close your eyes on a plane. We both woke up, and Russia had invaded Ukraine together. We were like, what? I've been Bob Pisani.
Oh yeah,
good friend. Santoli.
Rick is I love Rick.
Rick's good. Rick's great. I was at him when I was with Danny Riley, Mr. Top Step.
I know Danny.
Yeah, about 12, 15 years ago. I think it was 2012, if memory serves. It was when the Little Book of Stock Market Cycles came out. My book there, and I remember bringing one over to Rick, and I have a picture of me with him out of the old CBOE, where Danny's pit office was.
The one more question I had for you. We partied with Danny. Oh yeah.
Who didn't?
We did. Yeah. Who didn't? Who didn't?
He's another gracious host. I've stayed with him down in Florida too.
Yeah.
Nothing better than grilling some fish with Danny down there by his
Oh, that's fantastic. I think he will probably get a, I don't know.
OG tough guy, yeah. I like my friends, like 6 foot plus Irish with a good overhand right.
Yeah. What do you, within the next week? I mean, the January, that first 5 thing, that ends on Monday, right?
Yes.
Do we have what the next 5 days, which is the best day that we usually see in this 5-day period? Because this was supposed to be like the first 2 days of the New Year is usually good. The first day of the New Year is usually is up there, right? That was a bust.
First 2 days usually pretty good. But it's not 100%, man.
It isn't. I don't know. I'm looking for.
And after a huge rally, you're going to get some profit taking.
It makes sense.
And January's, been witnessing some selling in recent years. It's also weaker in election years.
Yeah.
There's not a specific day over the next 5 that, off the top of my head, that is better than the rest.
And the best day of the year, according to the Almanac?
July 1st.
July 1st. Yeah.
Beginning of the second half. There's a couple other ones there's some of that. I mean, best time to really get into those last few days of October and the first few days of November is a great turn of the month trade.
Yeah.
I mean, and it crushed it this year. That's the time to throw on a little leverage if you got a set on you.
And that mid-December bounce was really good too, going into January.
But the turn from the end of October to the beginning of November is a real consistent, frequency and magnitude type of trade.
Jeff, man, there was other questions. Hey, you guys have any more questions? I don't want to take up too much Jeff's time here, but I'm so psyched to have you here.
I could come back.
Yeah.
It's not real hard for me to get here.
No, I appreciate it. I don't want to. I called you once. I'm famous for let me call Jeff, get him on the air right now. You're live, Jeff. You're sitting at the dinner table. So then you're like, don't call me while I'm at the dinner table and try to interview me.
Just give me a heads up on the text like you did this time. Give me
Yeah, I did. I said, let me reach out.
At least an hour a heads up.
That's great, and I want to hang out more,
Yeah.
All right.
Next time we'll do coffee.
All right, we'll do coffee.
I had a few cups ready today. I'm on my seltzer now.
Yeah, I just had my one coffee here, so that's great. Jeff is.
I'll bring my French press.
Yeah. The Starbucks is gone. They got rid of it.
So, thank you. I'm never a fan of Starbucks. I mean, it's a nice music scene there, but I don't know.
Are you biking at all?
I hike a lot.
I do hike a lot too.
I find it better for me than the bike. I love
hiking. I
have a trail up here. I'll take you on. I do it in about 1 hour. It's about a 5K, but it's about 60 flights worth of hills. And it's right up here by Nyack College. Oops, I don't want to tell them where it is. No, it's part of the long path, and there's a loop up there. That's my big thing these days. I'm going to go on one out in Harriman right now. I'm going to meet a buddy for lunch and go for a hike. Yeah.
Awesome. God, you're living a life.
Somebody's got to.
So your office is across the river still?
Yeah, we have a place on Merrimack Avenue, White Plains. But I do spend some time at the home office.
Yeah, that's most of the time.
Yeah,
it's a good. It's good. You're still in South.
Still in South.
Yeah. Jeff, man.
Hey, man. Appreciate you having me on.
Let me just ask him. Please ask Jeff what happens when President Trump is re-elected.
That's what people elect.
If
he's re-elected.
I'm concerned.
Yeah, well, we're not talking.
He's a divisive.
Anything could happen. If there's even an election, we're not going to.
There was a line, Scaramucci.
Yeah.
Way back, just after he got his short 11-day stint with Trump, he was doing his one of his presentations, conferences, and they were interviewing him backstage, but he was getting made up. And they said, "Do you have any advice for Mr. Trump if you were to give him some right now?" He said, "Yeah, Mr. Trump has a very short attention span. I'd give it to him like a bumper sticker." This is what the mooch said. Same policies, less crazy.
Yeah, right. I think my opinion is, he's been in it. He knows what to expect now. And he took a vacation. Now, when you come back, you can correct the things you did the first time. You don't have to do. You know how the system works. You know how to be a president. Now you just go in there again and you do what's right. You know what didn't work. You don't what does work. I don't.
I don't want to get too political about this.
Let's not end on this note.
It never served us right. We look at the cycles. We're looking at continuity versus uncertainty, and let's hope Congress gets their act together.
Yeah. All right, we're going to wrap it up with Jeff. Jeff Hirsh, StockTraderAlmanac.com.
With an S, StockTradersAlmanac.com.
StockTradersAlmanac.com. But you guys, we go over it every day, so, you know.
JFGI.
JFGI.
Just effing Google it.
Yeah, goddamn effing Google it. I'm going to just put down the mic here, say goodbye. Oh, Mark just took a little dumbarooski there. And thanks, Jeff.
Yep.
And let me.
Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no, we'll have you anytime you want. We'll have you. That didn't come out right. Hold on. All right. Talk to you guys in a bit. Thanks, Jeff. Mike's off. That was awesome.
Thanks, man.
That was an awesome interview.
Great. No, it was fun. You and I can hang out and talk forever, man.
I know.
It's not hard. It's easy when you get friends like us.
Yeah.
So seriously, man, you're up. What are you up in West Nyack, right?
Yeah, on Strawtown Road.
Because I remember seeing you at that pond.
Oh, you know, I ran into a guy.
Off of Mountain View.
You were at a party about 2 or 3 months ago down in Jersey. Some big guy, and my friend was there, and he goes, "Oh, this stock market guy was there." And I said, "Who was it? Who was it?" He's always on TV. And I called your name. I said, "It was a Jeff Hirsh. He lived in the area." I said, "Yeah, that was his name." This guy's name was Steve. He was an Italian. He played pickleball a lot. He went to the same party that you went to.
Mic is on.
Oh, mic's on.
The camera.
No, the camera's on. We're going to pull that off. All right, guys, we're back. Hey, what a great interview. Yeah, we'll switch over. Let me have that mic back here. And let me just drop that down. I'll pull this one off. Oh, yeah. All right, let me see. Which one is this? This is that one. I'm going to pull this off. There we go. You can pull that out.
I'll pull this out.
Yeah, you get to just put that back over there. All right, you guys, back here with you. Let me see. Why am I sounding really weird here? All right. Testing. There we go. I'm moving up the cameras and stuff. Let's get back to the markets. Thanks for letting me do that with you guys. Jeff is a great guy for the show. Hey, and the interview, I think it was perfect. We got the behind the scenes on a lot of the old stuff here, what the Stock Trader Almanac's about. It was really good. I enjoyed it. Back to the markets. I did record this, and I'm going to stop the recording right now. Stop recording.